So yeah, there you go. So recording now. So again, thank you, Lupe from Braven, on hosting this LinkedIn workshop. Again, this was for our CHHS majors. You all requested this last semester. So thank you, Lupe. And I have this slide here because fall 22 enrollment is beginning. So feel free to screenshot this slide, make that appointment, one.sjsu.edu on your Spartan Connect. Follow us, and just to give you a heads up, we are having drop-in advising soon. So look out for that. It will be on our website, but in the meantime, make an appointment and let's talk about fall 22 enrollment very soon. All right, Lupe, back to you, dear. Lupe, I think you're muted.
I never get used to this. I was about to say, if you haven't already heard about Braven, I just wanted to share a couple slides with you guys about what it is. I know some of you guys have because I can recognize some fellows. So what is Braven? So basically, Braven is a nonprofit that has partnered with San José State. And our mission is really to empower promising young students from any background and all backgrounds in leveraging their skills, their confidence, and just prepping them really for life after graduation. This is a class that we offer here at SJSU. It is open to all majors. You do get 3 credits, 3 university elective credits. The really awesome thing about this class is that you actually get paired with a leadership coach who's a working professional. And you can think of this person as your mentor, and they guide you through like your resume, your LinkedIn, similar to what we'll be covering today. And in just thinking about how to navigate landing internships and landing jobs after graduation, or just thinking about like how can you begin to take on opportunities that are going to make you stand out once you graduate. We can move on to the next slide, Talisha. The amazing thing about this class is that everything we do and we work on will be 100% about you. You can get we'll gain real world experience we partner with a local company in the Bay Area. So you get to be able to utilize that opportunity, what we call a capstone challenge, to really build your skills and really be able to work and solve a problem for a local company in the Bay. We continue to do master your professional skills and confidence, build community, and 80% of our employed 2019 graduates that took Braven UNVS101 now have a job, just because, again, the class is really hands-on and it really does teach you everything you need to know and leveraging your skills and your confidence. We can move on to the next slide. So I just wanted to, I love to show this roadmap because even though UNVS 101 is a class, it really is more than just a class. I actually took it as an undergraduate student, and you get to port. The class is really just the beginning. The class is like an introduction to like all the fundamental things you will need in order to land an internship or like land a strong job after graduation. But then during the class, you actually get supported again by Brianna, your leadership coach, your cohort, and you have like a team of people really working with you to make sure that you are learning all of these things and that you are going to be able to land a strong job after graduation. And the amazing thing is that we continue to support students even after the class, even after they graduate. We have Priya, and Priya's job is literally to help you all get a job or to help you in whatever you left off after the class. So we do a whole bunch of different things. One of the most famous things that we do is like we provide newsletters, bi-weekly newsletters to our students, in which we can actually connect you to employers and refer you to companies. That is how I landed my 3 internships after I took the class. But thank you for hearing me out. If you guys are interested in learning more, you can scan the QR code. Also, Talisha will post some links in the chat for you all. And if we don't do it right now, we can also do it towards the end, but we'll go ahead and get started. I'm super excited to teach you all a little bit more about how to leverage your LinkedIn. So again, to secure a spot, you can register directly through my SJSU, or you can create a Braven profile where I will reach out to you and answer any questions you might have. And then we'll move on to the next slide. So your story, it is what you have, it is what you will always have, and it is something to own. I really love this quote, and I just wanted to share with you all so that you can think about this when you're thinking about building your LinkedIn profile. A lot of times we think that our professional brand has to differentiate from like who we are as individuals, but it's quite the opposite. You want to be able to showcase that your authentic story and really leverage it, because no one else will have a story like yours. And so you want to be able to showcase that through your LinkedIn. So we can move on to the next slide. Real quick question. Your online presence matters. So what percentage of employers will Google you before they interview you? Can I get some answers in the chat? You guys can guess, and there is no wrong answers. So 90%. Yeah, let's show the answer, Talisha. 60%. Okay, we had some good guesses there. Talisha, if you click next, it will show up. 70%, but that correct answer is actually 90%. This is why it is so important that not only you create a LinkedIn if you haven't already, but that you know how to utilize it and that you leverage it to your advantage. It is crucial, guys. So that is what exactly I will teach you how to do today. So we'll move on to the next slide. So what is LinkedIn? For all of you that, if you don't have one already, but you guys can post in the chat if you have one, just so I can get an idea. That would be amazing as I go over these points. It was founded in 2002 and launched in 2003, primarily used as a professional social networking service. As of January 2014, 93 million Americans use LinkedIn. The site grows by approximately 2 users every second. That's 1,200 new users since the beginning of this presentation. So yes, if you have no idea, that is what I'm here for, so don't worry. So we'll move on to the next slide, Talisha. So let's build one. I really highly encourage you guys, if you guys are not feeling shy and feeling courageous, to turn on your cameras. I love to see faces, but as we are going through this, if you already have created a LinkedIn, pull it up so that you can actually start building and start doing the things and implementing the things. Hi, Omar. And implementing the things that the feedback that I'm giving you guys and what I'm teaching you, because I know that you guys will forget. All right, let's go. Let's get started. How to stand out on LinkedIn. Make your profile easier to find. If you can see on the slide deck, you can edit your public profile and URL. So this is really cool because you can actually, if you go on there and then you click on that, at the end, you can actually put your name instead of it just being a long, like awkward LinkedIn, format. You can actually have your name there. This is also a really awesome and great opportunity for you to use this when you guys are building your resumes. So instead of having this crazy LinkedIn, you guys can have your first and last name. It just looks a lot more polished. It allows, professionals to find you a lot easier if they're trying to search you on LinkedIn, which we already know they do. So definitely, if you haven't done that, make sure you do that. And if you need help doing that, let me know, because that's what I'm here for. Then we can move on to the next slide, Talisha. Step 2 is choose a professional headshot and a creative header. I know some of you guys can get shy, but having a professional headshot is super important. I know it can be easy for us to put like little cute pictures of us, but this is like a professional network space. So we want to make sure that we are showing up and being presentable. So we highly recommend shoulders, head up. I know that Career Center does professional headshots for free, so take advantage of those resources. But making sure you have a professional headshot is crucial. Making sure you have a face and you have a big smile. Another thing is your header. Making sure that, as you can see in the example, we have like psychology undergraduate seeking opportunities in human resources, marketing, and management. Instead of just putting your name, if you're seeking for a full-time job, put that on there. If you're seeking for a specific type of opportunity, thinking about like, okay, what do I really want from LinkedIn? What am I trying to achieve? Am I trying to get recruiters to notice me? Am I trying to apply for like an internship? So making sure that a lot of recruiters will look up keywords. So if you have psychology undergraduate or seeking like human resources, this is how they'll find you. So being creative with your headshot and being creative with your header is crucial. Nothing too fancy, just your major, the opportunity that you're trying to achieve or trying to get, and like what you are trying to get into. Of course. So let's move on to the next slide. How to stand out on LinkedIn. Include keywords in your headline. As we can see on the left, you can see an example of Osvaldo Lopez, who's a student at San Jose State. Also Kayla, who she's a server at John's Pizza. This is what your profile should not look like. If you can see on the right, you can see Osvaldo Lopez and Kayla Driggs, and it's totally different. They're putting their graduation date, or actually I'm going to ask some of you guys, and you guys can definitely post it in the chat. What are the major differences that you guys are seeing in the don't and in the do example that I have up on the screen? And you guys can feel free to unmute you. Specifics, okay. Details, okay. Highlighting experience, perfect. Yep, these are great. So thinking about yourself, Mitch, like what major are you? Yes. Brandon, specific skills, of course. Qualifications, yes. So making sure you put your major, making sure you're putting your expected graduation date, or if you have already graduated or about to graduate, yeah, for sure have expected graduation date, and the positions that you're trying to get into, right? Or some skills that you have. This is going to help you stand out. Again, just because when recruiters are doing, key searches, you want to be able to have that language on there so that you pop up as well. We'll move on to the next slide. Step 3, tell your story. Okay, this is so important. Your summary. I know sometimes it can be really hard to draft, but this is an example of what your summary should look like. Your summary should include a little bit about the school that you're attending, the major that you are trying to acquire, or the degree you're going to get. Why are you tied into this? Like, what has brought you into your major? So if I can get some majors in the chat, that would be amazing. So I can see what we have. And then I can give you guys more concrete. Public health. Okay, Omar, like, what about public health? What connected you to public health? Like, why do you want to do public health? Samantha, public health, same thing. Thinking about like, what do you want to do with public health? Like, what about public health is guiding you towards that? And you want to add that in a sentence or two in your summary. And then you want to go into like, what experiences do you have? What's something like an experience, a concrete experience that you have in this space, or something that you are going to offer, or that you're trying to offer. And then lastly, you want to end with an ask. Omar, let's see what Omar says. He says, I care about helping people in the community and improving their health. That's amazing, Omar. It needs to be more specific than that. You really have to dig in and thinking, and my answer to you be like, why? Why do you care about helping people? Stacy says, I've been in public health research assistant and want to do more of it after I graduate. It is something to add in the summary or a tagline. I would definitely add that in the summary, Stacy. And I want you to think about, again, like drilling it down. What about being in this position when you were a research assistant made you really want to explore it more and made you want to like decide I want to go into this? Like, what specific thing was something that ticked for you that said, wow, now I know this is what I want to do. And that's what you want to add in your summary. That's what's going to make you stand out, right? She says, I've been a public health researcher assistant and I want to do more. Oh yeah, we have already read that one. But yeah, so being more concrete. And then lastly, I want you guys to end with what we call like an ask. So as you can see at the end, in our example, they're saying exactly what they're looking to gain or what they're looking for, which is seeking an internship opportunity in human resources. That's exactly what yours should do. And if you guys can see the format, I don't have to search for that. Like if I was a recruiter and I jumped on this profile, I'm not guessing, oh, what does this student want? What is their end goal? Like, what are they trying to achieve? I know right away, oh, wow, this person wants human resources marketing. Perfect. This is a perfect person, a perfect candidate for me. So you want to do the same, making sure that your format is nice, it's concise, it's clear. Your grammar, it's huge. Making sure your grammar I know it's a short little summary, but have someone look over it, because it's important. People pay attention to this, especially recruiters. So making sure your grammar is on point, and making sure that your format is easy and visible, and that when I read this, I should be able to walk out by saying, wow, I know a little bit more about Stacy, or wow, I know something really like cool or really interesting or really specific about Omar. That is the outcome you want to get with telling your story. So we'll move on. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to put them in the chat. That's what I'm here for. Like, let's take advantage of this and ask, specific questions or challenges that you guys have been facing, so I can answer them directly and be able to get that specific question that you might have answered. All right, the next one is going to be show off your accomplishments. This one is really amazing. So when you think about all the opportunities or all the experiences you have, thinking about like, okay, for all of you that want to be like in public health, thinking about, okay, what opportunities or what experiences have I already done or partaken in that are going to build my skills when I'm looking for public health opportunities. A good way to do this is go to public health, even if you're not looking for a full-time job yet. Go look at their job description and look at the skills that they're looking for. And when you look at those skills, you want to embed those type of skills into your points and showcasing that within your experiences. So I think, Stacey, you said you were a research assistant. That's amazing. Thinking about like, what specific experiences do you have, or like skills did you gain from this opportunity that align with what like public health, right? Or job descriptions in terms of that specific field. That's what you want to add in your accomplishments. And you want to add as many as accomplishments, or like if you have a lot of them, like if you have a lot of things that you've done, you want to prioritize and think about like the most recent, and really be intentional about like, okay, not just the most recent, but also thinking about which ones that I gained the skills that I need to showcase in order to land a specific job or a specific internship in a specific field.
So Lupe.
All right, we'll move on to the next slide.
Hey Lupe, yes. So with with public health and kinesiology, just because I saw the majors here, they're required to do an internship before they graduate. Mm-hmm. So when they're doing their internship, should they be taking mm-hmm. notes of what they're doing, so then that way they can brag about themselves for this step?
100%, Alicia. That's exactly what they should be doing. In fact, that if it's the most recent internship you have done, it should be on there for sure. It should be your number, like as you categorize them, you should have that at your top number one. So yeah, definitely, Talisha. And I will also show you guys a little bit afterwards. I'll also show you not just how to write about the experiences you have, but how to really leverage them in LinkedIn, okay? And I'll tell you guys more about that. But list your education and extracurriculars. If you are a Braven fellow, whatever it is, put it on there, because actually a lot of times we don't realize this as students because we're just trying to get our degree and get out. But people pay attention. Employers definitely pay attention to your soft skills. They want to know that you're a team leader. They want a team player. They want to know that you can communicate with other people. So with the diverse group of people, they want to know that, you can be resilient and be a problem solver. So when you showcase that you're part of extracurriculars, really what you're showcasing is that you have the skill to work with different people, and because they know that essentially you're going to be having to build these skills throughout these opportunities, which is why you want to showcase them. And if you haven't already been able to do an extracurricular, definitely choose something that's small, choose a way to get started, but definitely make sure you're adding those in there and that you have them, because they do make a difference. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Ask for recommendations. So this is the part that I was talking about. Talisha, you mentioned that kinesiology and I believe it was public health, they had to do they had to do internships, right?
Correct. Its internship is built into their program.
Perfect. So when you do these internships and you are working, whoever you're working with or whoever you're working above, go on there on LinkedIn and ask them to write a referral for you. Someone can write a quick message, basically a referral that's saying like a recommendation. They call these recommendations on LinkedIn. As you can see in the example, it's basically someone speaking on their experience of how you were and how they worked with you. This is huge. Like if you don't have this already, if you're doing Stacey, I know you said you were doing a research assistant, look up the people that you're working with and send them a recommendation. Be like, hey, I would love to get a recommendation from you. This is like, basically this is important because it's like people vouching for you in a professional setting. Any suggestions on whom to ask for a recommendation? Yeah, Omar, you want to ask people that you work with. So it can be, if you work with club members, do that. If you're doing an internship and you have whoever your like superior is, ask them. If you have a good connection with the professor, if you've built a connection with the professor, with an advisor, it really can be anybody. This is why when you're told by your advisors to build relationships, this is why they're so important, right? If you're building relationships, like they can actually go in there and vouch for you and do stuff like this. So that's why you really want to be intentional about building your relationships on campus and leveraging your advisors. Leverage Talisha. When you set up an appointment with her, make sure that, you continue to check in and say, hey, Talisha, this is how I'm doing. Like build those relationships, build relationships with your professors. These are the people you want to ask for recommendations. Is it possible to upload our rec letters that we've already received, or do we have to reach out via LinkedIn? Mitch, there isn't a section to do to upload your rec letters. This is more like because when you apply for a job, they're still going to ask for those. So you don't want to have them on there twice, but this is more for you to get like a variety of people kind of vouching for you, if that makes sense. So I hope that answered your questions, but we'll move on to the next step. Connect with alumni. Can I get some answers in the chat on like why you guys think connecting with alumni is important? Like, why do you think when I'm doing this, I'm telling you to connect with alumni? And what do you think what value do you think there is in that? To get a job? Yes, Talisha. Anybody else? And again, guys, there is no wrong answers. To seek advice on opportunities and developing skills. Yes, Omar. Number one. Mentor and advice. Yes, Mitch. Brandon, alumni have the experience and connections that can really help you. Yes, all of those are correct. And the one thing I will say, when you connect with alumni, even though the end goal is to get a job, you also want to come in a place of like, I'm just curious, right? Like, look for people that are alumni that are doing either this, that are in the space that you want to be in, or that have done something that you want to do, and ask for advice. Be curious. A lot of times you would be surprised. A lot of times, you're going to get no's, but at the same time, you actually get yeses. So it doesn't hurt to send a quick message and be like, hey, Benjamin, I saw that you are an engineer, you graduated from SJSU. I'm a current SJSU undergraduate. I'm looking for opportunities in this. I saw that you did this. I'm really curious to learn a little bit more about what you're doing and about your journey, and then send, but the way you want to do this more specifically is you want to go on to the search bar. And then if you're a public health, put public health. If you're doing kinesiology, do kinesiology. And then right after that, put SJSU. And then on the right hand, like you see on the screen, a whole bunch of people will show up. And these are all people that are San Jose alumni that are in, this example is engineering, that are in engineering, but you guys will be public health. And then start looking through their profile and seeing what you like, and then connecting with the people that you feel like, you want to connect with. So there's that. And then also just, again, coming from a place, sometimes we're trying to get, oh, I just want a job, but it is also nice to just come from a place of curiosity. Being authentic and being honest, it's always going to take you and be more productive than anything else, so just keep that in mind, guys. But we'll move on to the next slide. Connecting with alumni. I kind of gave you this spiel already, but I wanted to give you a more concrete example. And again, if you go to the search bar and you can on LinkedIn, you can actually click on people. And when you do that, something very similar or exactly like this is what's going to show up on the right-hand corner of your screen. And you want to click on the school, which is San José State University. If there's a specific company you want to, you're trying to get into, select that company so you can have their feed on your, in your LinkedIn. And then once you do that, it will filter out all these people that are from San Jose and from that specific company. This is a great way if you're being more intentional and you're like, I already know what company I want to go into. I already know who I want to work for. This is the key. And then connect with them. This is an example of a little paragraph. And I'll just read it out loud for you guys. But it says, hope you're doing well. My name is Lupe, graduate of SJSU, majoring in public health. And this is where you do some research on their profile and post and include like something you connected with on in their profile. And I'm using an example here. So you can just say, I saw that you're currently working at LinkedIn in marketing and I wanted to connect with you because I loved reading your post regarding diverse candidates. As someone who comes from a diverse background, this is truly resonates with me and I would love to connect and hear more. Very simple, very short, but again, very intentional. You want to be intentional and then send it. I guarantee you guys, if you send like 5 of these, 10 of these a week, you will be able to build some amazing connections and connect with amazing alumni from SJSU, and build on your opportunities to landing a strong job or landing an internship. Because a lot of times jobs and internships are like they are heavily centered around your connections and your network, which is why leveraging your LinkedIn is so critical. All right, we'll move on to the next slide. Seek a referral. So this is important. Now that you've connected with them, let's assume you've sent a message, you've been able to connect with them, you had an informational interview. Don't be afraid to ask for recommendations. Don't be afraid to ask them to refer you. So we can move on to the next slide, Talisha. A referral can really move your application to the top of the pile, which is why they're so important and they're like huge. This is a number one way to making sure that your application is being seen. All right, next slide, Talisha. How do referrals work? So you, and then someone who knows an employee, so you can search up again an SJSU alumni, think of an employee that they work with, connect with them, and then have them ask that employer if they can speak with the hiring manager or the recruiter, or how their referral program works, and if they will be okay recommending you. And then once that is done, that employer can go and flag that application to whoever is the hiring manager or like the recruiter. And then that quickly you went from being at the bottom of the list to being at the top of the list. So we'll move on to the next slide. Finding employers or people who know them. So LinkedIn, this is what it's for. You want to find employers or people who know them. So this is what we call connections. We can move on to the next slide, Talisha. We have, if you go to the search bar and you look for people, and then this will pop up, right? And then you want to think of a specific company. For example, Teach for America. So you put Teach for America, and then we can move on to the next slide. And then it will show up a whole bunch of people, but then you can also click. This is what we call first, second, and third degree. If you haven't explored this on LinkedIn, can you guys put in the chat, like if you guys have been able to see this on LinkedIn, like the first, second, third connection, and if you knew what it was. But basically what this is, first connection, what that means is that this is someone that you know directly. This is someone that you've spoken to. For example, me and Talisha are first connections. I know exactly who she is and she knows who I am and I have worked with her in the past. A second degree connection, I have never seen this before. Okay, Omar, great. So second connection, this means it's someone who knows somebody. So perhaps I know Talisha, but Talisha knows somebody who works at a different company. That is what we call a second degree connection. And then a third degree connection would be someone that knows somebody that knows somebody. And I know it sounds so out of far-fetched and like it's impossible, but really it works, guys. This is how a lot of people land their jobs, is by first, second, and third connections. And a lot of them are from second and third connections and not necessarily first. So when you're thinking about reaching out to alumni and building, or like your professors or people you've worked with, people you work with in a club, or people you work under, this is why that's important, because you really want to think about, once you have a connection with them, you can also have access to their connections, and that makes you a second connection, right? And then that connection can get you a third connection, and that's what first, second, and third connection mean in LinkedIn as well. So we'll move on to the next slide. Whenever you're ready, Talisha. Finding employers or people who know them. So this is an example of Paj R, a senior director, regional grants manager at Tech for America. And then you can see, so once I follow her, I can see who she, like what connections we share. So LinkedIn actually like populates this for you. And so then you can go in there and think of like, look at those people and start thinking about, okay, do I know Andrea? And, do I know Evan? And then look at the 9 other connections you guys share and identify, are they your first, your second, or your third degree connections? And begin thinking about next steps on how to cultivate relationships with them. And then we can move on to the next slide. How do you ask for a referral? This can be, intimidating because sometimes we don't know the people. And so we can feel really shy to just ask, right? But the worst that can happen is they're going to say no, and that's okay. They say no and you move on. But if you get a yes, it can drastically improve your chances of getting a job. So, or an internship. So you can just say like, hi, Andrea, I hope you're doing well. Like, what's new with you? And then you be very honest. Like, I wanted to reach out because I just applied for this, grants coordinator role at Teach for America. I noticed on LinkedIn that you're connected with Paja, the senior director of the regional grants management there. So I was wondering if you would be willing to reach out to ask if she could flag my application for consideration. The role is really exciting to me, and I think that my experience and the external affairs intern at Braven gave me the necessary experience to be successful in this role. I think your vote of confidence would make a big difference in helping me in helping my application stand out. Let me know, and thank you so much. Best, Armani. So short and sweet, and be direct. She right away let Andrea know, hi Andrea, like, I noticed that we're a connection. I know, well, she already knows Andrea, right? So keep this in mind, Andrea is her first connection. And so Paja would be her second connection, would be Andrea's second connection. So that's really how that works. But this is just a quick little blurb for you guys to see and to have a really concrete example of what that looks like. Sometimes it can be very, very tough to do this because we don't know the person and we're scared to ask, but you lose nothing by asking, and you have everything to gain. So don't be shy and do it. All right, we'll move on to the next slide.
I think that was the last slide there. I don't know if I can go to 30.
I think we have, there we go. So that was the perfect. So we can stop the recording here, Talisha.